And we're...
Is it running? And we're live! Welcome to episode 76. I can't believe we did it this long. Of the Crafty Boys. Yeah. Wait, do that again? Ah! Okay, fine. We've been doing this for 18 months now, give or take, and we're awesome at it. So therefore, spread the word, let people know that we are awesome, and we will tell you how awesome you are just for telling us how awesome we are, and it'll just be a love fest all around. My name is Shane. Okay. Over here is Dave, and of course over here is Alan, as always. Dave is in the middle of nowhere. We don't care where he lives anymore. Alan, of course, is in the gorgeous city of Victoria, and I, of course, am in Vancouver because I'm the loudest of the three. We did invite Locke to attend, but he's in deep, dark law school, and I can't guarantee it ever that he'll be here. This week, the beer. I'm going to get right to this. I'm going to step on everyone else's thoughts of jibber-jabber and talking, because today is the Persephone Brewing Company's Persephone Pale Ale. Now, we have talked about Persephone before, and it was great, but this is the Pale Ale, which I have seen a bazillion times here and there, but have never, ever tried. So, first of all, Dave, what is the International Beer Unit rating of this beer?
Let me see if I can even find it, actually. I had a look at the label. The label is very minimalist on this one, actually.
Okay.
They haven't put much on here.
You have to go to the website.
You have to go to the website.
I'm waiting for Dave to do that, but he's not going to.
Nope.
So here we go. Persephone Beer Brewing, the Pale Ale. As far as I can tell, it is. I did a little bit of reading about it, but essentially, it is a yummy beer. And that is actually a quote from one review that I read. It's yummy. But the Persephone Brewing, the Pale Ale, the International Beer Unit rating of this beer is 33. So just let that tickle your taste buds, Dave.
Not high, but not really low either. I mean, it's kind of like...
Not high, not low. It's about average for something that has... Yep. So it's a medium-bodied light...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, it's a medium-bodied, light-colored ale. And it is bursting, and this is a quote from the website, it's bursting with juicy citrus and tropical fruit aromas from Citra hops. The pleasant citrusy hop flavor and the modest bitterness is balanced with a light malt profile, a sessionable beer for the hop lover. It has won Best of Show first place at the 2014 Horseshoe Bay Craft Fest, North American Pale Ale second place at the 2015 BC Beer Awards, and North American Pale Ale third place at the 2016 Vancouver International Craft Beer Awards. So there you go.
Now let's see if it stands up to our
because the Crafty Boys Awards will be happening in 2017. We'll be rating the finest beer out of all of our episodes. So that'll be episode 100, just letting you all know now that we'll be reviewing 3 of the top beers that we have reviewed on this show, and we will be drinking them all until we are completely incoherent.
Nice. This is a pop beer. I just wanted to throw that out there.
When they say bursting, I think they actually mean it.
Definitely, it
has a very nice color. It's got a typical sort of. It's a little darker on camera, but it is sort of an orangey kind of look to it. The hop flavor, holy hell! That's like what that is. That's like a brewer, like
an alien inside of it, and it's going to like.
That's a way better. That's a way better description than I've heard. I was going to say that it's kind of like being punched in the face, but again, I got to say I am impressed with this beer. It is. I haven't drank it yet. So far. Now again, don't forget
until we actually taste it.
Well, don't forget,
to pass on this one tonight, guys.
What? Shut up.
Well, because first of all,
that's like
Alan's
drinking a load of hops that right off the truck.
it's an alien
Whoa.
bursting out of your chest, and then Shane's like, it's like getting punched in the face. Neither of
Not the
which I'm,
chest.
I'm
Not
not
the
a
chest.
feeling.
fan.
I don't feel like having a chest burster
Okay,
explode
so
out of
you're
my
gonna
chest and then
split
getting
freaking
punched in the
hairs
face by
here.
said chest burster. Wow, I gotta say I'm a fan of this. I don't know
This is
how
good.
else to describe it. This is I am surprised.
Yay.
But I'm not surprised because I had doubt in Persephone. I'm just surprised that I didn't expect. I'm glad I read that first because I would not have if I had not read the description on their website, I would not even have suspected this had as much hop power to it because. But it's not overpowering. I mean, it's not overpowering. It's actually quite a friendly. Friendly.
It's refreshing.
It is refreshing. It's not heavy in any way sense. I mean, generally pale ales are not heavy, but we've had some pale ales like Piper's that tasted like you were trying to shove a brick down your throat. And I say that with
only
love.
beer on the show in 76 episodes. I think that's the only beer that we've had that we didn't really like.
Yeah, and the sad thing is it surprised me because we had such a love affair with it earlier on and much in our youth. And I was disappointed because we popped it open and I had nostalgic bursting out of my ears. Nostalgia was just pouring all over it. Another bursting. And then we had it and it was kind of why are we drinking this? Because I don't feel like punishing myself with this anymore. Although granted, I would have drank an entire case of that stuff if it meant that I'd never had to drink the swamp ape in Florida ever again. So boys, I gotta say this is an impressive.
It reminds me of an India Session Ale.
That's true. It does have sort of. I mean, I think it's because
I don't think they're doing themselves any favors by calling it a pale ale.
I'm suspicious if this is dry hopped as well. Do you get that sense?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. To me, it seems like it's
very
been dry hopped as well, but they don't say that anywhere on the website. It just talks a little bit about the citra hops. But I
would say that this is comparable to a hop therapy India Session Ale from Russell.
Because I also had just yesterday. This actually reminds me of it. Red Truck across the street from where I live has a new dry hopped beer. A dry hopped. I don't know if it's a pale or is it I think it's a lager. And
is it dry hopped or wet hopped?
Dry. Like they actually have a big description of how it was made on the wall right now. Okay. Mainly because it's a brand new one. Like it's something that I think they're just doing as this particular season, like for the next few months, and then it'll be done. But yeah, it was actually quite good. I enjoyed it a lot. I was very surprised. So this reminds me of it is why I thought about it, because it's got that really strong, level.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal. Remember that?
Oh my god! Was that Loaded Weapon 1?
No, that was Spaceballs.
Was that Spaceballs? Okay, thank you. It was thank you.
They go into that truck stop thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Space. Right. It has what's his name there, and he okay. Spaceballs. I saw Spaceballs in the theater with a good friend of mine, Sean. He and I.
May he rest in peace.
I'll call the university. Maybe he didn't show up today. I think he called me completely out of the blue. We'd sort of, been friends for that grade 8 year, and it was sort of the end of the beginning of the summer, and he said, "Hey, he phoned me up and said, "Hey, do you want to go see Spaceballs?" And I was like, "Sure," and went down to the Capitol 6 downtown and watched it, and it never ever left my mind. My favorite line being, "Keep firing, assholes!" So there you go. Alan, I'm going to jump quickly because this beer is there's really nothing to say other than yummy.
It's really good. Let's find out what Dave thinks. Okay, Dave.
Oh, sorry, Dave. We're skipping right over you.
Should know. Everybody should know that Dave is not a fan of hoppy beers, which I think is going to be a good segue into our next topic. But Dave, beer.
Well, I have to admit, I'm not as big a fan as you guys are of this one.
Hey,
because
come
of what
on,
you said.
man.
Hey, I'm not saying it's bad. It's quite. I mean, I like the citrus stuff to it that you get off the top.
That's the hoppy flavor.
Okay, I thought the finish was the hoppy part of it, the more sort of bitter. Actually, that's not the finish.
Well, it's kind of a little bit of both, yeah.
Yeah, there's sort of a bitterness, and it's got a little bit of a caramel kind of a finish, which is nice. But it's I gotta say it's a little bitter for my taste. I don't think I would buy this as something that I would just want to drink on a regular basis. But it's not a bad beer. I don't mind it. But it's
so basically
not,
what we're saying is if the three of us, right? So what we're saying is if the three of us go to a pub somewhere and we get a picture of this stuff, Shane and I should just ask for 2 glasses.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I would get myself something different.
Okay,
because it's a little bitter for my taste.
Would it come in a coconut?
It just might.
It's like an umbrella, maybe.
Yes, a nice red umbrella.
Yeah, and like a fruit wedge with like a little plastic sword through it, and a maraschino cherry.
I was waiting for the maraschino cherry. I could see where you were going with that. I could totally see it. I'm like, I'm not going to stop him. I'm not going to say a word. It's going to happen.
I would get that for you, Alan.
So now I sent a link to you guys to an article that I found online, and I had to reboot my computer before we started this thing, so I don't have the link anymore. But interestingly, that we're talking about hop beers. There was an article that was published. Oh, look at that! I've got them here. I think
I just reposted
that
them.
Hoppy beers can actually be healthy for you.
You see, Dave, Alan and I are going to live forever. You're going to die.
Essentially, some researchers somewhere actually got paid money to do this study because, I mean, researchers, I think they've got it really good.
Hey, who wants to drink a lot of hop beer? Yeah, okay, you'll live. Who knows?
It's scientific. So anyway, what they did is they gave
it's scientific.
They had lab rats, and they gave some of it hoppy beer, some of it non-hopped beer, and just regular hard alcohol to another group. And tested the liver damage for those 3 sets of mice or rats or whatever they did, mice. And the rats or mice that took hard alcohol had liver damage. The ones that drank unhopped beer also had the same amount of liver damage. The ones that had the hopped beer, no liver damage, or at least less liver damage. There.
Interesting.
Wow.
So
Dave,
beer.
I reiterate, Dave, Alan and I living forever. You're gonna die. You know, I wonder why. I'm kind of curious. I'd like to know more, but at the end of the day, I don't really care because from now on, I'm going to drink beer that's only heavy in hops because that way.
You know what? There was a time where I was like Dave, and I didn't really like the hoppy beers, And I've really come around to it, like in the past, say, 5 years. I love hoppy beers now. In fact, that's all I want.
So what you're saying, you grew into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's with anything, like any of the beers that I've had that you first off, I mean, I remember the first time I drank a sour and it was like, wow, this beer has turned awful. But, then, it's like, oh, no, it's supposed to taste like that. That's kind of what it is. So once you kind of know what it's supposed to taste like, then, because this year, 2016, and even part of last year is all about hop and nothing, or not, sorry, is all about sour and nothing else. So it's kind of nice to actually run across a beer it's not quite like that, and is sticking to the hop gun. So I think overall it's definitely, even hoppy beer is an acquired taste, especially when. And here's the thing: the first beer that people really have is not going to be craft beer. It's going to be something ridiculous like Molson Canadian or Budweiser, and that's what they're going to think about.
17 or something.
Yeah, Coors Light or even Kokanee in this area. It's just, which are really, really bad, piss poor lagers that are easy-ish to make, are made in vast quantities. And with like most of the large brewers too, you got to remember they have, they have a lot riding on these brands. They don't have the luxury of experimenting with it too much. I remember the whole ice beer thing that was happening, I don't know, 20 odd years ago. Which I thought it was awful. Like, I couldn't believe anyone would drink this shit. And it was pretty bad. Like, that's what it was. It was just shit. It was awful. But people,
I don't even get what the point was of it. It was beer. I think. Well,
my point is, I think that it's all about. I think it's really all about how the, like what sours right now. That's kind of, I think, the same thing. A couple of people made it. It actually sold, and other companies kind of followed along to do the same sort of thing. So I think sours probably this time next year might still be around. Definitely not as strong, but the following year, I mean, they could even disappear. I mean, it might be more of a fancy-ish product, a higher-end product later on.
Sours are not here for the long haul.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. I mean,
they're too hard to make.
Eventually
people will get bored with them and something else will come along.
So I'm going to jump into, speaking of sour beers that are not long for the thing. I also think there's another thing that particular article you brought to our attention about Starbucks' new drink is 1 part beer and 1 part coffee.
Yeah, apparently.
I don't understand.
So Starbucks down in the States has what's called an evening menu, where they actually serve beer and stuff. It's not like that here. They started doing it recently in Canada, but it's only in like 5 locations in Toronto or something like that. Who knows if it'll ever spread across Canada so that we get it here in the West Coast. So this doesn't really apply to us here. But essentially, Starbucks is now going to start getting into mixing drinks. So they have actually come up with a beer that has a shot of espresso in it, which, I mean, is not all that weird. I mean, we have beers that are brewed with coffee all the time, but this isn't brewed. This is like a beer that's got a shot of espresso dumped into it. So that's a bit different. I don't know what to think of it.
I wouldn't drink it, but that said, this is what I'm thinking, is that I think that maybe I would try it one time. I don't know if I would like it, but again, I had a huge problem drinking beer at brunch time. Like I would go out for brunch on a Sunday. Beer would never have passed my mind. It's always, brunch is coffee, tea, water, juice, whatever, but never beer. And I don't know, about 5 years ago or so, I went out to brunch somewhere, and Locke, who's on the show, of course, came along and said, "Hey, I'm going to get the Wrath of Khan 2." And I said, I beg your pardon? And the beer list had one called Wrath of Khan 2. And I thought, well, I have to have this. I'm not coming back tonight to get it. I want it now. So that was kind of, probably my first experience of drinking beer at brunch time, and ever since then, it makes it. Why am I not drinking beer right now? It's Sunday morning. I'm recovering from a binge drink last night. I need to even things out. So
The hair of
beer
the
is
dog.
the answer. So I don't know. It was actually kind of nice, and that's the thing too, is that the license to, like, if you go to a Starbucks late at night to get this drink, you have to go there for a reason, because you can't do it at 3 p.m. It's a late night menu. You have to be there at a certain time. So yeah, brunch on a Sunday. That's the one time you can actually have a beer, with your eggs and greasy bacon, because
Right.
why the hell not? The other thing too is that it's actually an IPA, which I thought was kind of interesting. This espresso cloud IPA, as they call it. I that attracts me even more. Dave, I know, of course, the IPAs are not your friends, but would you do this? Like, what would you do?
I'd give it a shot. I'd be curious to know what it tasted like, because potentially it could be fairly tasty, right? It's because think about I mean, how many different flavors of coffee are there, right? There's all kinds, just like in beers. And then how many different beers are there? And depending on what they do, how they put it together, it could be pretty tasty, or it could be absolute shit. You don't know until you give it a shot.
It'll be one of those things where you drink it, you start drinking it, and if you just turn your nose up at it. If it's, oh god, no, just give me another IPA.
I kind of wonder what something like that would cost, though. I mean, if you think about it, like a pint of beer at a restaurant's like, you're looking at these days probably between $6 and $8, and then Starbucks coffee is like what, $5? You're probably looking at a $12 drink.
Honestly, knowing the prices of, every time you go to Starbucks, you're like, I'd like to have a black coffee with some steamed milk in it. That'll be $17.85. What? If you ever have watched the Lego movie, which I have watched, and it's actually quite good, there's a sequence at the very beginning where they're singing a song called "Everything Is Awesome," and the main character, goes into, like, a Lego version of a Starbucks and says something about how awesome paying, exorbitant prices for coffee is awesome. And it's like, they orders a simple coffee and it's like, that'll be $38.50 or whatever. And he's like, awesome, because quite honestly, I think it doesn't matter how expensive places like Starbucks get, people will still pay, whether that's a good idea or not. So I don't know. I just kind of,
I don't know. It was just a
kind of
thought.
lukewarm. I think we should try it at
Try
least
it.
once. I don't know if it's in Canada, obviously, but I want to know more about this whole thing about fresh hop beer, sir. You have the third article here from the CBC talking about how the fall in US in.
Yeah, so fresh hop beers.
What is in this?
So, remember when I asked you about that beer that you said was at Red Truck? You said it was dry hopped, and I asked you if it was wet hopped.
That one is dry hopped, yeah.
Okay, so wet hopped and fresh hopped are the same thing, and we're in the perfect place for it here in BC. The hops are picked, and within hours are brewed, like go into a brew, and that is fresh hopping. The hops have oils in them, and the longer, as soon as you pick the hop, the oils start to degrade, and the longer it goes from being picked to in your belly, the more the flavor kind of diminishes. So the idea with a fresh hop beer is that they pick it, it goes into the brew, and then goes out to market, and you drink it as quickly as possible.
Sounds kind of intense, actually. Like, you got to be right on it if you're going to have some of this stuff.
Well, yeah. So CBC News picked out 3 beers that they figure are really good at this. So one of them is from Yellow Dog, is the Alpha Dog Wet Hopped Ale, which won a People's Choice at the BC Hop Fest. And then they also have the Strange Fellows Hop Devil Wet Hopped Pale Ale. And then there's Steamworks, which actually has two. They have the Yak Attack and the Hop Attack. And the Hop Attack actually boasts that it's only 4 hours between being picked at the farm to going into the wort boiled kettle at the brewery. So the Steamworks Hop Attack sounds kind of interesting. I wouldn't mind trying that.
That sounds amazing. I totally want to do that.
I mean, can you imagine that? 4 hours from being picked at the farm to going into the brew kettle.
Doesn't get more real than that. I mean,
well, it does. You could
with
do 4 minutes.
Well, okay, true. But that's
if the
practical
brewery
here,
was,
man.
you know what? If I had a big chunk of land, I would grow hops and I'd have my own brewery right on site.
You know, I honestly would want to be able to do something like this. Computer Arch. Whoosh. And then, computer load hop brewery something, whatever, insert name here. And start begin program, enter when ready. All right. Go in there.
But this is exactly what Persephone is. Persephone is a microbrewery in Gibson's that actually runs its 11-acre farm right together. So they can actually grow their own hops and go right into the kettle. There's no trucking.
Which they probably do.
Like that.
I'm actually very happy about that because being a BC boy, you kind of want that magic to happen, and a lot of the BC coast is rocks and stuff, so it would be hard to do that in certain areas of the lower mainland. I mean, Richmond, of course, probably, but I think hops, don't they require a certain type of climate really to excel?
Yes, apparently our climate.
So, exactly. Well, this is kind of what I was wondering. I don't actually know off the top of my head.
Like we're in a prime location for hops.
Well, there we go. Let's the Crafty Boys starting. You heard it here today, folks. We're starting our own hop system. We're going to start growing our own hops. We're going to start selling our hops, and we'll become multi-gazillionaires by this time next year. Because 10 minutes, 20 minutes for hops to grow.
Something like that. I'll go get the mushroom manure.
All right, let's do this. So overall, I mean, there's a lot of, and I'm closing these news tabs because I keep getting videos playing on me for some reason. Thank you for that, whatever magazine you are. So overall, we are, with the exception of Dave, sorry, Dave, individuals who like a hoppy excitement in a glass.
Yes, but that's okay. We'll be able to enjoy beer longer because we'll live longer and Dave will die.
So with that in mind, so this basically means that our superior choices in beer consumption will, of course, allow us to live so long. Because here's the thing, just the other day, I've forgotten where this came out from, but supposedly the extent of human existence, the longest that we will ever live, I'm assuming barring any catastrophe, is about 115 years, 100 to 125 years.
Yeah.
So I think the challenge
with current medical science, the way it is.
Current, yeah, of course. But I really think that you and I are going to live much longer than that. And Dave's
totally.
Dave is totally, maybe he might get to 80, maybe 90 on the outside.
To be honest, I've already started planning his funeral.
I know. I already found the plot.
Did you?
Dave, by the way, just to let you know, the Royal Oak Cemetery, or Royal Oak Memorial Park, I think it's actually called, does have a section where they allow people to be just basically tossed on the ground and covered with dirt, and you rot naturally into the ground. You have no marker. Your body will degrade and eventually be mulched into the ground to help the plants because it's a sort of a secluded garden area. But I gather that's kind of the thing, that it's a natural burial. I think that you can also be buried 3 feet under or something. But they want you
As
close to the
opposed to
surface.
6.
So you, well, as opposed to, but they want you close to the surface because, vermin and insects and things need to get at you. So there you go, Dave. I've already picked it up. It's a nice arbutus tree named Ted. And you will be, of course, laid down on top of a ton of other people. So there you go. A natural burial. You will return to the earth. And although you do have an alternative,
Okay.
at this time last year, a few days ago, a friend of mine named Travis Corey passed away at the age of 41, I think, because he essentially looked at his tongue in February, said, "I don't like what I see." Went to a doctor. A doctor said, "This is not a good thing. We need to cut out your tongue," and stuff like that. Long story short, he passed away in October. So, all
Cancer,
kidding
yeah.
aside, cancer. Yeah, all kidding aside, I mean that really was a thing that he and I once in a while would drink beer. He wasn't much of a beer guy. He liked it, but he would prefer other stuff. But at least in my presence, anyway. So I raised this one to him, what's left of it, so that we all remember. Because the reason he popped into my mind was not because of his anniversary of his passing last week. It was he was an incredibly environmentally conscious sort of character, and what he did after he passed away is he actually located a company in Victoria that was a green burial kind of company, where they encourage people to do things like, there's a field, you can go lie down in it, or you can go lie down and die. No, once you've passed on, this is where you'll go. And so anyway, so it was interesting that he chose that, because when the funeral came, which happened on Halloween last year, we were all at the lighthouse near the lagoon there, and we took little tiny bags of his ashes and tossed them into the ocean. But they were in biodegradable bags. So there you go. That is my sad story, but kind of a nice one at the same time. So here you are, Travis. This is you get this, sir. But enough about death. We're talking about hops and amazing stuff, which bring us long life, except for Dave. Locke, I think, will outlive us all, considering he drinks. If it doesn't, if it's not an IPA, it's not worth drinking. But I kind of like this whole idea of living longer because of drinking heavy hop beers. So I don't know. I fully support this plan.
Nothing wrong with living a few extra years.
This is very true. And like I always think, by oaks and roses, deliberated. So that's all I got to say this week, because I'm kind of down now. I'm kind of bummed out a little.
Yeah, way to go.
Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to do that. It just popped into my mind, and there you go. Anything else that you guys want to cover this week? We, of course, have got the second presidential debate down in the United States of America. Do we want to talk about Trump?
Nope. Oh,
I didn't think so. But Alan, we might have something to say about it.
No.
Not at all. So happy about that.
He's got.
I know.
ALCS.
Okay. I want to point out today, the only sports news that I do know of is Wayne Gretzky has been hired by the Edmonton Oilers to be a VP of something, which essentially I gather he is going to be a mentor to the coach and management staff. And that is
VP of hockey operations, maybe.
Something like that. I don't remember exactly. But it started today because before the podcast, I caught a little bit of the game against Calgary, and he was in the stands. So, and they talked to him at the half to discuss what his role was.
There is no half.
But again, what did I say? Did I say half? I'm sorry. I was watching CFL too, which of course is in quarters. Anyway, after 40 is where I should have actually said that. But anyway, so Blue Jays. Talk about the Blue Jays because I care.
Okay, so the Blue Jays. Everybody knows this. Everybody in Canada knows this. They swept the Texas Rangers, the awful, evil Texas Rangers, with that stinky odor, and have punched their ticket for their second straight ALCS, the American League Championship Series, where they'll be facing against the Cleveland Indians, which is interesting because the new management of the Blue Jays from this past offseason is two guys who, between them, have spent 37 years with the Cleveland Indians organization. So these two guys jumped ship from the Cleveland Indians to become the management of the Blue Jays. Their underlings in Cleveland took over for them, and now the two teams are facing off against each other for the American League Championship, which is, I guess, kind of interesting. Let's go Jays. I think they've got a good shot. They need to get the runs going early in games because they're not going to be able to do it late.
Okay.
And then next week, for next week's episode, we'll check in to see where they're at and how they're doing. It could be disastrous or not. We'll see.
He's crossing the fingers for them.
Oh, yeah. You know what I'm doing this weekend? I'm watching ball.
On that note, Yes, is the hot monster. On that note, thank you everyone for checking us out. We of course are here every Wednesday from about 9 until whenever the hell we feel like it. Thank you for keeping us alive, also by sending us little tiny tweets and things, which of course, Alan, where can people find us online when we're doing stuff?
At our Twitter account, which is what is it? Like the little
Twitter.com/the Crafty Boys.
Yeah, something like that.
At the Crafty Boys, and I would bother to tell you who we are, but I don't care anymore. So we'll fill you in next week, or watch past episodes, which are down in this. Where's my camera? Down in here somewhere in the links.
Or it could be up there.
Or it could be. Oh, it's true. It could be up or over there, or maybe over that way.
You know, I'm looking down at Alice, and there's Greg Brady, and little Cindy. Bye, Cindy.
In this day and age,
totally do that one time.
In this day and age, that would be called stalking. Because I mean, really, look at this guy. I mean, really, when you look at it, is this the face of a guy who isn't a stalker? I mean, come on. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. Look at how
looks like a
shady he is, man. Look. He's even got his bed nearby. I mean, come on. Bum. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll see you all next week. Thank you. Bye.